Good morning on this Monday. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going out on a limb like Tina Marie, okay? So, for the longest time, many people have said, Quentin, you should start a podcast. I got a lot of this feedback from when I was on TikTok. If you're familiar with me, I'm Mr. Intellectual 2025. And today we are rocking the hoodie that says unapologetically black and educated. Okay. And you see, I got my boys in the back. Okay. Now we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some things. And that's why I continued the name of this podcast from the first one, Controversial Crucial Conversations, because we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go somewhere. And here's the thing. It's not for anybody to be offended. This is education. This is education. But through education, you get liberation, though, too. Okay? So let's talk about some things. Now, I'm going to start off deep down in my shanana. If you've been rocking with me on TikTok, you know about that. This first episode really sheds a light on Rochester, New York. This is my foundation. This is my foundation. This is where I was raised. And for the longest time, I couldn't understand why things were the way that they are. You may be asking, you may be saying, Quentin, what do you mean? What do you mean why things are the way that they are? Poverty. And why is it that poverty disproportionately affected people who look like me? I said, I just don't understand it. And it took for me to move and to be gone for some years and then to come back to get a firm understanding why things are the way that they are. But that doesn't mean that things have to stay the way that they are. There's a lot of people who sidestep this issue, and I think they do it on purpose. And so you may ask, well, Quentin, what is the issue that you are alluding to? I'm glad you asked. The income gap based off of race. Oh, we're going to talk about that. But the one thing that I will say is that upon my arrival back to Rochester, New York, the one thing that really gets me is that you have a lot of organizations here that are in the good fight. You seen them quotes? They're in the good fight when it comes to this racism game. But none of them ever brought up what it is that I'm about to bring up. That's what makes me a trailblazer. It's not for you to get offended. This is just who I am. It's either you rock with it or you don't. But aside from all of that, let's just get that off the table. Let's get into this episode, though. And this is what it reads. It says, they call us Rochester, New York, the flower city. Flower like Flour. They call us the flower city, Flower. But in 2019, a different label stuck. I don't know if you know about this. I've known about this for years. Rochester was the second worst city in America for Black people. But a label is just a word. I wanted the math. And I found it. You want to know what the Gini coefficient is? The Gini coefficient was 0.4966. That's a little nerd in me. And you may say, what is this that you just gave me? Quentin, don't leave me out in the cold. What is this that you gave me? I'm about to tell you. This is the Gini coefficient. If you weren't an econ nerd, I'm a nerd, but I'm not an econ nerd or whatever. So this is how it was when I was getting my understanding. I'm a nerd, but I'm not an econ nerd. So let's break it down. 0 is perfect equality. 1 is total inequality. In a world of economics, 0.5 is the line where societies begin to fail. Rochester is sitting at 0.4966. So you might as well round that up to 0.5. We aren't just a city with a gap. We are a city with a canyon. Because at 0.5 signals that there is inequality, you guessed it, based off of race. So let me give you even more information. The median white household here makes $58,000. Median means middle. So when they compile all that data from these white people, most of the people are falling in that middle, which is the $58,000 income band. Whereas the median black household is what? Can you guess it? It's under $30,000. It's actually $27,000. That's 46 cents on the dollar. I don't know about you, but who's surviving off of $27,000 a year? And this is before gentrification. That's before then. Let's pivot a little bit. So I'm going to focus it on me just a little bit. I want to be your case study today. I want to be your case study. That brings me to the invisible resume. So in context of me, and this is not for anybody to get offended, because sometimes when I run down my educational background, there's some people who get offended. I'm going to need you to grow up. I'm going to need you to get out of that. Because we have a real honest conversation. That's going to benefit you if you look like me. Okay? All right. Now that we got that understanding, let's move forward. I have a 6 Sigma green belt, and it's not karate. I don't want to hear anybody talking about that. Oh, he do karate. No. 6 Sigma is about efficiency. Why do you think Toyota builds reliable vehicles? It's because of 6 Sigma. So get that karate stuff up out of here. It just shows your ignorance, and we're not going to have that today. Let's keep going. I have a master's in healthcare administration. I spent 10 years inside various parts of healthcare and reached the executive level through a healthcare residency. I watched as highly qualified Black talent, people with these belts, they may have a green belt, they may have a black belt, with these degrees, who may have an MBA, they may be an engineer, they may have a healthcare administration degree. They could have a plethora, meaning many, different degrees. And guess what? They were locked out of these jobs because they weren't a culture fit. Upon moving back to Rochester, after 3 months, I coordinated a meeting with someone from the Chamber of Commerce. Let me tell you how that came to be. I reached out to the city of Rochester because I wanted to attend a community job fair, but I was unable to do that due to scheduling conflicts in the job that I had. I was working in a call center. We're not going to talk about that. When I was working in that call center, your boy was down bad. Your boy was down bad. So from that meeting that I had with someone from the Chamber of Commerce, they said the quiet part out loud. Because I had just asked, flat out. You know what I mean? I'm a straight shooter. I said, are companies in Rochester, New York gatekeeping jobs from Black people? And the individual was like, unfortunately, yes. And the individual was not Black. The individual was white. So I say all that to say, and I'm sharing this with you because they've known that they have been doing this for such a long time. They've known this. They've known this. This didn't take place in a vacuum. It didn't take place in a vacuum at all. No, not at all. So this is what else we'll say. It says, I saw how this is contributing to the income inequality and culture fit. We address that. When they say you are not a fit, they aren't talking about your 6 Sigma project. They're talking about your zip code. They're talking about that 0.4966, which is that Gini coefficient that signals income inequality based off of race. Isn't it white people that say that we always make it about race? This is a side step that I'm going to take because I've been to 262 cities. I lived in a handful of them. I lived in the South and also lived in the North. And you know, the one thing that kind of gets me, we're kind of going to go on a tangent a little bit, is that there are some people who think that they understand this dichotomy of racism and how it is dispersed and facilitated in respect to whether you're in the North or the South. I'm here to tell you, in my experience, no matter where you are, it's the same. You may ask, well, Quentin, what do you mean? The thing that you typically hear is, oh, in the South, they'll call you a racial epithet to your face. So you know where these people stand. Whereas in the North, those people are sneaky. They hide it in policy and things like that. Newsflash, the Gini coefficient exists everywhere. Atlanta had the biggest Gini coefficient for the past 10 to 15 years. They prop up a lot of those black people who are supposed to be famous as a smokescreen. So there's some people from the North that believe that they can go down South and that they can make it. Some do. But you got to ask yourself, what did you do in order to quote unquote make it? Did you do something that's going to question your morals, ethics, and values? And this grind thing that many people have popularized, but is harmful because of the way that things are set up. Many people think, oh, I was grinding, so I got it on my own merit, my own work, my own productivity, and a system where you were meant to fail if you look like me. Let's just put all of that together and let's continue on. It says, in this city, your credentials are not an asset. They're a threat to the status quo. And this is what else that I want to say. It says, this season isn't about asking for a seat at the table. It's about a forensic audit of why the table was built to exclude us. Okay? In the next episode, we are going to look at our best and brightest are finally saying enough and leaving the 585 for good. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought, I'm going to find this city. I'm going to find the city and I'm going to, really lay down roots. I felt that way about Atlanta. Yeah, I did. I thought, I figured, I'm like, if I don't, and when I first moved there, because I had moved from Cincinnati to Atlanta, because I got recruited for a job down there. It's so interesting how the narratives of some people, oh, he went down there because he was trying to get into a relationship. He went down there because he was trying to be famous. He went down there because he wanted to live his best gay lifestyle. Yeah, cats out the bag, I'm gay. It is what it is. So many rumors came out, and it's so crazy because the people in Cincinnati that I knew, many of them were happy for me. When I shared that news with some people here in Rochester, they didn't like it. It gave very much crabs in a barrel. That's what it gave. It gave crabs in a barrel. When I went down there, and I was down there for 2 years, and I learned that my credentials were not an asset. The sabotage that I experienced working at Wellstar Health System, the lawyers and stuff that pushed my concerns to the side, the default was going to the EEOC. The EEOC really didn't help. They gave me a right to sue letter. By that time, my finances were tapped out. Working at Walgreens as a team lead, standing in the heat, sometimes as high as 98 degrees, unloading a truck. All of this for $19 an hour. And mind you, my rent is $1,500. $1,500. Mind you, Atlanta, the income disparity, that Gini coefficient was huge. It was huge. But I had to survive. So I said to myself, I said, well, Quentin, last long enough where you can finish your lease. And that's exactly what I did. When I tell you I was so irritated by the end of that lease, I threw out everything that was in that apartment. I ain't give nothing away. I threw out everything. Even the bed, I threw it out. I left with 2 boxes. That was enough to put in the car, and I had my car shipped back to Rochester. And I flew back to Rochester. Did I look at Rochester as a safe haven? No. I was about to say something else, but it wouldn't be godly. But no, I didn't. I just looked at it as like, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get myself together, and then we're going to pick up and we're going to leave one more time for the people in the back. One more time, okay? And then I realized that the game is rigged. And it shows itself very much in Rochester. In Rochester. So, I'm going to leave y'all off with this. The next episode that we are going to well, the one thing that we're going to focus on in the next episode, excuse me, I misspoke, is the brain drain. Oh, these people got a word for it. And this is one thing that I want to say before I get up on out of here. I think that a lot of people here in Rochester, I ain't saying all because I don't generalize. That's one thing that you will realize if you continue on with me. I don't generalize at all. So I'm not going to say all, but I'll say some or many. Some of y'all needed to stop making people feel guilty for leaving. There was a time, this is when grandpa is coming out, my inner grandpa. There was a time when people left with the best intentions, and some of the people here were naysayers. Oh, don't worry about them. They'll be back. They'll be back. They go down there for about 6 months, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, but they'll be back. Some of y'all participated in that. If that person did come back, the negativity that came about. I'll use myself as an example. You're going to find that I use myself as an example in a lot of cases here throughout this podcast. When I came back, it was an assumption, and this came from some family members, that I went down there and I was living my best gay life. And what do they equate with gayness? Sex. Oh, he must have came back because he caught something. He must have came back because he caught something. Now he got to come back here and get, services. Y'all know how some of y'all do. You know how some of y'all do. So that was the word on the curb. I even had a family member, he was like, this is what he did. I could laugh about it because it's just full of ignorance. And then sometimes you just get to a point where you see the ignorance and all you could do is just laugh. He goes, mind you, I'm working at Walgreens because I had bought the Walgreens job back with me. It really didn't matter because the white counterparts is making way more money than I am due to that Gini coefficient, but I digress. He goes, is everything okay? You all right? You good? I said, yeah, I'm about as good as I'm going to be. With all the trauma that I experienced in Atlanta, he goes, no, like, what I mean, like, health-wise, are you good? I said, what are you alluding to? He was like, well, down in Atlanta, people, they get there. So you're dancing around the topic. You're never, ever getting there. You're never getting there. But this is what you're thinking. And I have to do the mental work to pick up what you're putting down. You want to know what he was alluding to? He was making an assumption that I had went down there and I had contracted HIV. Regardless of whatever it is, you're my family, and I would think that you would be supportive whether I did or I didn't. Or better yet, ask me what happened. Ask me what happened, and I could talk about the Gini coefficient, income inequality based off of race, and that's what kicked my behind. I stayed there as long as I could, but it's so crazy because I was going from one boiling hot pot to another. The Gini coefficient down there in Atlanta, it wasn't that much worse than what it is here in Rochester. But if you just would have asked, I would have been able to share that. Instead of you making assumptions and then I got to sit here and I got to run up behind you and figure out what that is. And guess what? Child, I'ma gossip with you a little bit. We gonna gossip from time to time, so get used to it. I had lost a lot of muscle. I had lost a lot of muscle when I came back because I was working myself to death, trying to pay that rent and any other bills that I had down in Atlanta. So I had lost a lot of muscle. I was skinny as all get out. So in the black community, right? So I got to get quiet and I got to lean in. In the black community, for a lot of people, they think that you done caught something if that's what's going on, which I think is ignorant as all get out. Is all back doors. I ain't done said that in a long time neither. It's gonna be a good journey, y'all. It's gonna be, but yeah, as all outdoors. But my thing of it is, even if that was the case, as family, I would think that you would be supportive of me because trust and believe, whenever I made a move, whether it was Cincinnati, whether it was DC, whether it was Atlanta, whether it was Chicago, I never asked anybody for anything. No one never had to bail me out of anything. No one never had to pay a bill for the kid. So I didn't expect that when I came back. Oh, I overheard a whole bunch of stuff. Something's not right. I don't get it. Why did he come back or whatever? All you had to do was just ask. That was it. And there were people who were so quick to run to my gayness instead of asking me what barriers I encountered professionally. And better yet, how did that translate to me coming back to Rochester? Because the same stuff I was dealing with down there is the same stuff I'm dealing with up here. But there's some people who are looking at me, they look at me like, oh, he's just complaining when I'm educating. You're just complaining. I just don't understand it. Why can't you just go get a job? Why you just can't do it when I'm on unemployment? Why you just can't get a job? I just don't understand it. Well, this is the reason why I can't get a job. Not a job that aligns with my educational background and my level of experience. Did you hear executive residency in there? I should be getting paid really good money. But you can't say that too loud because then there's some black people, mind you. I said some, not all. Oh, he just bougie. You just bougie. When you say that, you show your level of ignorance. And I'm going to tell you as to why. Because when you say that someone is bougie, you're just alluding to their social economic status, whether it's true or not. So it's misdirected. You're saying that I'm bougie, but the context is different. Some people are using it in a way because I don't indulge or participate in some of the activities that they participate in. Let's just name a few. Drinking heavily. I don't drink like that. I'll drink sometimes socially, but that's about it. I don't smoke weed. I don't do other illicit drugs. Does that mean that I think that I'm better than you? No, not at all. But I do have the educational background to know what those things do to you. Oh, your boy got a bachelor's in public health. We cover all of that. But there's so many people that remain on the surface because that's the safest place to be. But then when you remain on the surface, in many cases, that's where ignorance resides. So hopefully this sets the tone as to how the rest of the season was going to go. We're about education, but we're also about real conversation as well. So this is me. This is the first episode of Controversial Crucial Conversations, and I'm signing off. Y'all have a good day.